Hello all, thank you for joining our webinar on the topic of how to mitigate fake account creation. My name is Jennifer Ukebu and I work within the international marketing team. I will be your moderator for today's webinar. I am joined by a presenter, Peter Craig, who is Director of Product Marketing here at Human. Please feel free to ask as many questions as you like using the question box. We will try and answer as many questions as possible at the end of the webinar. And on that note, I will pass you on to Peter. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jen. So today we're going to talk about some news, things that are happening in the media right this moment. We're going to talk about why you should care about fake accounts. We're going to talk about why fraudsters want fake accounts and what they do with them. And then some ideas about what you can do about fake accounts, what works and what doesn't, how Human can help, the organization that we work for. And then we're going to finish off with an amusing case study about where we helped foil some fraudsters. So if we were doing this presentation face to face, I'd probably be asking you at this point, what's the big news story about bots that's in the news at the moment? And you'd probably answer, well, it's about Elon Musk and he's buying Twitter. So it's going to be a rhetorical question. What's the big news story about fake accounts at the moment? And it's that Elon Musk is buying Twitter. And there's some very interesting topics to discuss around this. For example, around free speech for humans. Should there be free speech for bots? But that's a discussion for another day. Now, social media platforms make money from advertising to users. And the more users that a platform has, the more valuable it is for advertising. The number of real users is important because bots don't buy stuff. And advertisers need to trust the platform that they're working with is providing the audience that they're paying for. And this is why Elon Musk is obsessed with Twitter bots. There's been a lot of speculation about just what percentage of Twitter's users are bots. And you can see here that the figures range from the high teens to over 70%. Twitter's own estimate is 5% of their users are bots. But the truth is that nobody really knows. And the truth is that in many cases, nobody really cares how many fake accounts are on their sites because there's someone somewhere who's got a target for new account signups. And they're not going to spend too much effort in filtering out the good from the bad if they're being paid on new account growth. Now, Human doesn't protect Twitter, but it does protect other even bigger platforms. And on some sites, we will see that more than 70% of all traffic is coming from bots. Some are even higher than that. And this will be price scraping activity where competitors are scraping their competition's site for pricing information to try and undercut them. So fake accounts are in the news, and Elon Musk cares about the number of bots on Twitter because advertisers care who they're advertising to. So Elon cares about bots. Why should you? Well, the reason you should care is that 77% of all digital attacks are bot-based. So that the criminals or the fraudsters that are attacking your site are going to use automation to try and attack your site because with automation, they can scale their attacks. And the more the attempts that they make, the more likely that they're going to be successful. And the last few years has seen many businesses move more and more of their business and focus online. And what this means is that bots can attack that online business and sabotage this digital transformation that you're going through. They can have an impact on your customer experience, the applications that you use, and cost you money in lost revenue and wasted cloud computing costs. They can take over accounts, buy items with your customer's credit or points or air miles. And of course, all of these things can hurt your brand. They can post spam messages, taking your customer out of your app and onto an inappropriate site and damage trust in your app. However, taking a digital transformation approach makes a lot of sense. A recent MIT report said that organizations that have adopted a transformation strategy are 26% more profitable. But bots can damage this. And this is what we're going to talk about today, and specifically about fake account creation. So there are many benefits of offering your customers accounts. And creating a customer account needs to be quick and easy, so your customer isn't frustrated and lost. Creating customer accounts enables you to engage more deeply with your customers, enabling them to engage more deeply with your business. It provides a channel for you to offer your customers offers and discounts. And this helps ensure that they become long-term customers. And as we all know, it's more difficult. The expensive bit is acquiring customers. Once you've got them, you want to make sure that you hang on to them. Now, having customer accounts can also help you monitor their behavior, so you can tweak your platform to be as profitable as possible. And by monitoring their behavior, that enables you to make sound business decisions. So you can see where you've got to put more effort, or in order to make your online platform as profitable as possible. Now, of course, you want customer account creation to be easy, because you want them to create accounts so that you can engage with them. However, sophisticated bots can use this same easy system to register new account after new account to use for their cyber crimes. So we want to put measures in place to thwart that kind of activity. So how do bots create fake accounts? Well, this diagram is one that I've lifted from the OWASP website. Now, OWASP, as I'm sure you'll know, is the Open Web Application Security Project. It's a non-profit foundation that works to improve the security of software. And OWASP has categorized this automated threat, account creation, as OAT 19, OWASP automated threat number 19. So how does it work? Well, before running their user registration process, fraudsters will obtain identity source data. So that can be stolen data, fabricated data, or a combination of the two, and use these data as inputs for their next fake profile attack phase. So what they'll do is they'll use their attack script or program, and this might include API calls to services such as CAPTCHA solvers. We'll talk a bit more about that later on, or disposable email address services. They then use these data with new account registration forms to generate large quantities of new accounts. And then once they've created these, they'll use these for their various purposes that we'll talk about on the next slide. So I mentioned scripts and programs a second ago. I don't want to give the impression that a fraudster needs to be a highly capable programmer to create fake accounts. So this is an example here you can see on the screen of a readily available tool called PVA Creator, which is a bulk account creator. And that can be found with a simple Google search. And this will do the account creation for you without any programming skills required. And it can create accounts on multiple platforms, including Gmail, Reddit, Instagram, and Facebook. So it's easy, and you don't need to go onto the dark web to do this. So once they've got their fake accounts, what do they do with them? Well, they can do payment fraud. So they can use these fake accounts to do fraud within your application. They can launder cash and goods. So for example, they can buy e-gift cards with stolen credit card numbers to resell them to others. And of course, all of this can be done completely electronically. So there's no physical address for law enforcement to follow up on. They can take advantage of promotional items meant for new customers to entice them into signing up for a service, or they can apply for loans and credit cards with no intention of ever paying them back. They can disguise other attacks. So for example, they can camouflage credential stuffing attacks by logging into fake accounts with the same attack to reduce the number of failed logins and avoid detection from bot detection products. They can use fake accounts to spread malware and content spam. for example, on social media accounts to send phishing messages en masse. And of course, even if only a few of these are successful, it's enough for the attack to be profitable for the fraudster. And then the last one, which is a slightly surprising one, is Bitcoin mining. So many cloud computing services offer a free period of use. And if bots can log into lots of these, create lots of fake accounts on these sites and get lots of free cloud computing power, they can use this for Bitcoin mining. So all of these individually, if it was just one attack happening, one fake account, it's not going to cost a lot of revenue to the organization, to the platform. But because these are automated and can be done at scale, they can become a real problem for the platform. So 2 further examples. So what can you do with fake accounts? So you know how important reviews are in your decision-making process when shopping online. So this site here is offering fake reviews from validated fake accounts on e-commerce site. And you can see that they're selling 100 reviews for $1,800. So it's fairly lucrative. And this could make a significant difference to the buyer. But of course, it also erodes trust in the e-commerce platform. Also, LinkedIn have got a problem with faked accounts. And what these are used for is drumming up business for companies. Fake accounts send messages to potential customers. And then anybody that reacts to these messages gets contacted by a real salesperson who tries to close the deal. So by using fake profiles, companies can cast a wide net without having to sign up for business accounts on this service. So this became a big problem during the pandemic, as it became hard for sales teams to pitch their services in person. Some people used bots to contact customers and use these to sell their services. Other factors include exposed credentials. So there are billions of exposed credentials out there on the internet. And this means that there's plenty of supply. So they're cheap for bot owners to integrate into their fake account creation programs. There's also rampant password reuse. So there's been some studies done that have shown that 75% of consumers, even if they know that their password has been breached, their account is being breached, won't change their password and continue to use it on other sites. So this means that once a criminal has got hold of a password, there's almost a 75% chance they'll be able to log in to an account that's associated with that password. Another factor is that MFA adoption is still low. So one thing that can help cure the bot problem is multi-factor authentication. But because multi-factor authentication introduces friction into the buying process, many product teams are loath to add multi-factor authentication into their product experience, which means that adoption remains low, and it means that many platforms don't use it, and it leaves that platform susceptible to misuse by bots. So these are some of the issues that platforms, organizations are struggling with bots. But what can they do about it? What's the impact of fake account creation on the organization? Well, there's reputation damage. They can damage the reputation of the platform. Have you ever discussed with a friend your doubts about the validity of the reviews or comments on a site? They can skew data. So new accounts are a positive sign of growth. But if you can't tell that they're real, can you make sound business projections or forecasts with these data? And then there's the fraud losses and the investigation costs into the fraud by your team. So if we could solve this fraud before it's committed using fake accounts, we could go a long way to solving all of these problems for your site. So things that we can do, or we can consider doing, are using CAPTCHA, using WAF or Web Application Firewall, and then dedicated or specialist bot detection solutions. So let's look at each of these over the next few slides. So this is a screenshot of a CAPTCHA from the early 2000s. CAPTCHAs have been around for over 20 years. And many organizations still attempt to solve the bot problem with CAPTCHA. But as we'll see, CAPTCHAs are both ineffective at preventing bots, but also very effective at irritating customers. In fact, in a recent survey conducted by Human, 40% of users stated they quit a login or transaction process because of CAPTCHA frustration. With CAPTCHAs, you're making your prescriptive customer do the work, introducing friction just at the point when you're trying to convert them to a paying customer. Now, CAPTCHA was an important step in distinguishing between human and bot activity on the web, but it's had trouble keeping up with determined attackers. So some businesses have revamped CAPTCHA technology, but CAPTCHA's history is a good case study in showing how profit can incentivize fraudsters to overcoming most technological barriers. And here's an example of how they can overcome this barrier and what the profit motive drives. So this is a site called anticaptcha.com. Again, you don't have to go onto the dark web to find this. A simple Google search will show you this. And what this is a CAPTCHA solving service that you can integrate with your bot. So what happens is your bot gets to the point where it's got to solve a CAPTCHA. It sends the puzzle using an API to anticaptcha.com. It solves the CAPTCHA for your bot, supplies it back to the bot. The bot's able to solve the CAPTCHA and continue with its fraudulent activity. So it's a very well marketed, clever service, and they even market that you can do good by using their service. So if you look at the section that I've highlighted here, you can see that you're actually helping workers in developing countries by providing them with a good wage to solve your CAPTCHA so that your bot can continue with its fraudulent activity. And here also you can see the CAPTCHAs that the bot is solving for customers worldwide. And you can see it's not just those antique CAPTCHAs that I was showing you on the previous slide. It's the most widely used, most up-to-date CAPTCHA on the market. And you can see here the availability of CAPTCHA farm users to solve your CAPTCHAs. You can see that they're solving them in 20 seconds, and they're ready to do that work for you right now. So CAPTCHAs aren't great in helping you with the bot problem. So another solution which is still absolutely very useful for solving bots is the Web Application Firewall. Now, WAFs are good at solving the volumetric type of attack. So the volumetric type of attack is where the bot throws everything at your application to try and break into it. For example, a credential stuffing attack. And the way it works is a web application sits between your destination web server or platform. And what it does is it filters out activity from users who are using your web application in the way that you want them to, and bots who you want to repel from your destination server, your application. So this could be on your premises. You can put your web application firewall at your premises to filter out bot activity. But more likely these days, it's going to be a feature as part of your content delivery network. And what this will do is it will filter out fraud, volumetric fraud. But there are issues with web application firewalls and limitations with web applications firewalls. So this here is where a customer thought that they had a bot problem, and they brought human in to help them work out whether they really did have a problem. So this is some analysis from a customer site, and they engaged human to find out what exactly the problem was. So we put our detection tag on their site in detect only mode. Now the customer had a WAF, But here we can see how the fraudsters adapted their bot to evade the WAF protection. So on this slide, you can see that the vertical axis is the number of login attempts per minute from a particular IP address. The horizontal axis is a 2-week time period where the customer was testing out to see what human could show them. So the first thing I want to do is to draw your attention to the first green spike. And this is where there were about 20 login attempts a minute from a single IP address. And then you can see here, there's a gap in activity. So we can't be sure exactly what happened here, but what we think happened was the bot owners got blocked.
I'm not sure if we've lost Peter. We'll give it a few seconds and hopefully he'll come back. Let's see, he might have lost internet connection. Sorry about this. Oh, looks like he might be back. You're back, Peter? Great.
I'm terribly sorry about that. Yes. So, yes. So as I was saying, the green spike there shows the green spike there shows where. So the graph is on the graph there. We can see a spike in login attempts, and this is where there were about 20 login attempts in a minute from a single IP. Then you can see that there's a gap in activity. And this is where the bot owner got blocked. They went off and they tested their bot and they realized that the maximum number of tries per minute allowed by the WAF was 10. So they started their activity again. And you'll see now that the spike never gets above 10. So they can carry on trying their fake account creation undetected and unblocked by the WAF. So this is another example here. And this is where someone was using a botnet for a carding attack, also known as a credit card stuffing or card verification attack. And this is where criminals use sophisticated bots to perform many automated attempts to use, test stolen credit card credentials. So the graph is a spike in login attempts. And you can see in the data on the right, over a period of less than an hour, the botnet cycled through thousands of IP addresses to evade detection and blocking by the firewall or WAF. So they only ever used a maximum of 40 connections per IP address to evade the WAF detection. Now you can see on the screen that out of the thousands of attempts in this period, only 6 made it to the My Account page, indicating that the attack was successful. But of course, once the attacker was in there, he's got complete control of the customer account. Now, it's hard to tell what traffic is human and what traffic is bot. And this is where conventional defenses like WAF and CAPTCHA can let you down. Sophisticated bots use your web applications as they were intended to be used. You can see the comparison here between a human session path and a bot session path. Both get to the same end result, buying something, leaving a comment, but the human path is much more meandering, less direct than the bot. The bot selects, buys, job done. The human checks for alternatives, reads reviews, looks at delivery costs. Now, when you see trillions of events and analyze these like human does, you're able to determine the difference and use these differences as some of the signals that we can use to determine whether what's been accessing your site is human or not. So in the past, WAFs and CAPTCHAs have been used, but these are not enough to outwit sophisticated bots. And this is where human has developed our modern defense. So human uses modern defense to safeguard organizations from bot attacks and fraud, increasing ROI and trust, while decreasing customer friction, data contamination, and cybersecurity exposure. And what makes us different is our visibility, our network effect, and our disruptions that put us in a unique position to win against the cyber criminals. I'm going to talk about each of these in the next few slides. So what makes Human different is ads. Now, I'm sure you're aware that every time an ad is served to you, it's gone through an auction process where your attention is sold to the highest bidder. And this process is secured by Human. Advertisers don't want to advertise to bots, and Human's business is founded on stopping this. We've been doing this for more than 10 years, and we're the dominant supplier of bot detection technology. More than 85% of global advertisements are verified through Human, and Human secures 15 trillion interactions weekly. And knowing what sophisticated bots look like requires seeing them, and we see them all over the internet, more than any other vendor because of our reach. Almost every ad collects bot signal for Human. So we've already observed more than 85% of users in our advertising security solution before you see them on your web applications. This is why we find bot abuse that other bot mitigation providers do not. This is our network effect advantage that enables all of our customers to find and defeat bots better than the competition to stay ahead of cyber criminals. And with this data, you can play to win. You can disrupt your adversaries. So you can defend, drop, deceive, disable, and defeat bot activity. And more than that, Human actually disrupt real cyber crime. So this on the right here, you can see an example of where Human took down the MethBot botnet that actually led to a prosecution in a US court. So what you can see here is the Russian king of fraud, and he was found guilty of online ad scams. He's actually now behind bars in a US prison. And the judge in this case actually said if it wasn't for the heroic effects of Human and the work they did to publish their findings, the MethBot fraud scheme would still be active today. So when you search, shop, stream, or socialize online, you're contributing to Human's collective protection through our ad fraud protection. Now, on this slide, you can see some of our customers. Some you'll recognize, some you'll not. But the ones at the top there are pretty big names. And one in particular stands out, and that's Google. So Google uses us. And I'm sure you'd agree that if Human is good enough for Google, it's good enough for most organizations. Google's got the best engineers in the world. They rarely work with vendors because they've got the ability to make whatever tech they need in-house. But our signal, our protection is so good, so unique, and our detection precision is so good that Google chooses us to protect them against bots. And, as far as validation of our solution, I thought this is quite an amusing case study to bring to your attention. So this is one of our customers, and they implemented Human to protect them from new account fraud and content manipulation. So they were being deluged with content spam, links that sent their users to inappropriate sites outside their platform. And here we're eavesdropping on a conversation between the bot platform provider that was causing these problems and his customers. So they'd been able to create fake accounts on this platform. Then something changed. And the thing that changed was Human was deployed. And the platform then deleted the fraudsters' existing accounts. And you can see here in the conversation that they can't understand what's going on. So seems like something changed. I'm going to have to run some tests and see what's going on. This may not be a quick and simple update. Laugh out loud, all my new accounts were deleted. again, more conversation here about what's going on, the CAPTCHA. And then he's got his 10,000 unverified accounts ready, but he wasn't able to automate the verification process. But he's still got confidence in the bot owner. He can do anything. He's a genius. But in the end, he gives up. Unfortunately, this seems like a dead end. I think I've jumped the gun a bit with my previous post. So this is a great unintended advertisement from our adversaries for the effectiveness and precision of the human bot guard solution. So if you can use a precise, dedicated bot detection solution like human, you're able to stop fake accounts before they're created. And with that, you can prevent reputation damage. You can stop bots from skewing your data. You can reduce the fraud losses that your platform encounters. And you can limit the investigation costs that you're going to have to invest into preventing further fraud. Now, if you'd like to try this, we'd love to hear from you. It's as simple as deploying a single line of code, the human tag on your site. And with that, we'll show you what's real. If you'd like to contact me directly, my email address is peter.craig@humansecurity.com. And if you'd like to sign up for this assessment, you can see the URL on the slide here. And I'll leave this up while we answer any questions that you have. So Jen, did we get any questions?
Hi, Pete. Yep, luckily we did get some questions come through during your presentation. So I've got two here. One says, does your product only stop fake account creation?
Okay. So the focus of the presentation was around fake account creation, but I wouldn't like to give you the impression that that's all human bot guard does. So as well as fake account creation, we can also deal with things like scraping attacks, content scraping attacks. We can deal with credential stuffing attacks. So it's a fully featured bot detection and mitigation solution. So if you're struggling with a bot problem, we'd be glad to hear from you, and we'd be glad to show you how we can help you solve that bot problem.
Okay, great, thank you. A few have come in actually. Says here, you mentioned a tag. Is there any performance impact on our website to run your detection tag?
Okay, a great question, thank you. So there is a tag, so that the tag runs asynchronously, pardon me. So it doesn't hold up any web traffic at all. So you're probably already running many tags on your web page to do with analytics and so forth. So this is just one more additional tag that you put on your website. It runs client side, so it won't have any impact on the performance of your website. And what was the other question, Jen?
Here it says, do you have any other integration options to avoid placing a tag directly on the web page?
Okay, another good question. So we do. So we have integrations with Fastly, Cloudflare, and Amazon Web Services. So we also have an Nginx plugin. So we've got a customizable Nginx plugin, and that enables you to integrate quickly and easily with BotGuard's real-time mitigation API. And what that integration means is that you can quickly and easy get this up and running with Nginx, with minor updates to your Nginx configuration. And it means you don't have to make big changes to your application code. And then we also have, as I mentioned, a CDN solution module. So we can integrate with Fastly, with Cloudflare, with AWS, and AWS CloudFront to defend against the abuse of the applications, the websites that you're running on those platforms without having to use a tag. So you can use a tag, or you can use these integration options that I've just outlined to you now.
Great, thank you so much. That is the last of the questions that we've received. This webinar will be available on demand. So the link that you've used to access this presentation, it will be available on demand. And yes, you should be able to get an you should be able to get an email with this recording. That was a question that came through. Thank you so much. Again, if you do have any questions, please reach out to Peter. His email is on screen now. But yeah, thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen, and thanks everybody for attending. Bye-bye.